If we each did 1% in society each day, I did my 1%, you did your 1%. There's 8 billion people in the world or more, right?
Yeah.
If 8 billion people did 1% positive to change the world,
I like that,
for
yeah.
365 days, this world would be a brand new world.
We want to talk about like ideas or any big innovations that you had that you want to implement into the world to like draw in community.
So
Or
I'll take it like this, right? When you look at the world today, what we have around us,
yeah,
we're all here for a purpose, right? We're all here
Absolutely.
for some type of reason. Am I talking into the mic? Am I
yeah,
good?
you good.
We're all here for a certain purpose. We're all here for a reason, right? So what I would say to change the world is everyone start to become individuals. Individualism. Let's like push more individualism. And I would say individualism because individualism allows you to have what you call accountability.
Yeah.
So being accountable. And when you hold yourself accountable, you're going to hold yourself accountable to different standards. Now, when you talk about different standards in life, we have character, commitment. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You have what's your purpose. So if your purpose is you're committed to changing the world, it starts with you.
Absolutely. Wait, just to make sure that I got this right, you know, when you say individualism, like we should all just be more of ourselves and stop trying to be like the other person.
Exactly.
And, like embrace your own character, your natural traits. Yeah.
Focus on the task at hand, which is succeeding in your life. And success is not monetary. Success is not always money. Success is not always fame. Success is not always just, having it all. Sometimes success is becoming a better person. So just to bounce back, you see, you was having a conversation with him. I was overhearing your conversation. It was about homelessness and stuff like that, so on and so forth. A lot of people, he's saying, put yourself in another person's shoes and feel empathy. In order to feel empathy, you have to feel accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable.
Oh yeah, for real.
So you know what I mean? So
man.
now we're looking at as it going back to individualism. If I was to sit down and I say, all right, I'm going to hold myself accountable to be the highest character person I could be, that goes into me holding myself accountable to be a good person. When you talk about character is being a good person.
All right. So how does character play? So what type of character do you think like is most ideal like to have, like, or are you just saying like it could be any character? Any character is ideal.
I'm saying the ideal character would be. The ideal character today in society, or what's the ideal character to have? Because the ideal character of society today is to be selfish.
Ah, yes.
So, and
why is that?
It's because the world is so fast around us. Well, it's actually not fast.
Yeah.
Our realities are all going fast based on all the things that we want. So, everyone has goals, everyone has aspirations, everyone has things that they want in life. But when you're going so fast, you're thinking about yourself all the time. You're not thinking about everyone else, or you're not thinking about no one else at all. A lot of times, goals are based on money, having a new job, having a new house. But then you see things like the pandemic, and you see things like the job crisis in the job market, where a lot of people are losing their corporate jobs. Sectors like the music industry, tech, all these different sectors. People who are 15 years plus are now having to be unemployed. So it goes into the empathy of, all right, I was so focused on reaching for these heights, now I don't have anything. So now, is it time for me to relate to someone else? Or is it time for them to be lost in just me dwindling in my sorrow of, wow, I lost? You didn't actually lose anything. When you were born, you didn't have a job. Your job was to just live as a human being. When you die, that's the end of it. There's no job title. So we put so much emphasis on titles.
And something that we could just lose in an instant.
You can lose in an instant, exactly.
Because it's like we wasn't born tethered to it, like how we was with family and whatnot. Like, and so like to be more tethered to something that didn't have no real connection with us before we was like brought into this world, like it doesn't make sense. And a lot of people, what's the thought? A lot of people tend to be selfish because of the fact that it's like it's eat or be eaten. That's what also what was built in like the capitalist like the capitalist government, like economy.
But then it goes back to it's perception versus reality. So if you're looking at society from the perception of a person that's eat or be eaten, you're gonna look at it as if, okay, I have to do what I have to do to survive. But in reality, it's not really eat or be eaten. When the world started, everyone was here. There was no material, there was no jobs, there was no titles or nothing, and
Or
these
status.
people coexisted together very well.
Right.
Then when you look in now today's time, we're going through the motions of wanting to get this, wanting to get that. So that's the perception that makes you believe eat or be eaten. Outer influence causes your perception.
Right.
So your perception draws your reality. So if you're being influenced by what you're seeing around you and you believe that this right here is success, this right here is winning, this right here, this character equivalents me being this status of a person, you're
Right.
not gonna actually take into consideration the other part of reality, which is everyone's living a different side of reality.
Absolutely. But doesn't individualism have to like tie back to status, like in the like the norms that they've created into this world now? So if you need to have status and like we have to be individual, like, and we don't like, we shouldn't like value all those things, but it's like you can be eaten if someone is of a higher rank than you. Like,
Can you?
Can't you?
I mean, it's the
Think
power
about
of your
it.
mind.
Think about it. The judge, if something was to happen, you know, there's men who've been in prison for things that they haven't even
wrongfully convicted.
Yeah,
Yes, correct.
Wrongfully convicted. They've never done anything, you know, and it's because like they didn't really have a status of character. It's like who they were. They looked at their background and looked at their character, and they said, oh, they was in food service, or they didn't really do much of this, or they didn't do anything professional. That's like going to show that they had a character that deviates from this standpoint that we're like thrown against them.
Okay.
So it's like it's like we could say status isn't important, but it's definitely going to play a role in how like we're perceived and how we can elevate in society. Because if you stay in one place, like think about it, no one's all right. Compared to a man who's talking right here, like one of us, compared to a man in Congress or who's sitting right hand next to the mayor. No, we wouldn't have the same type of influence like to talk to the people and say that we could get this done or get that done, because they have all the power. Then they could eat up everything that we say.
I love that point.
Yeah, they could eat up everything we say.
I'll ask you this. Do you think they actually have power, or is it back to perception of power? So you can do everything the mayor is doing.
You're
you can say
absolutely
everything
right.
the mayor's doing. You have the freedom of speech to say everything you want.
absolutely right.
It's just about, are you dedicated enough to be dedicated to go and see it through? So there was people so society always had independent thinkers who became professionalists at what they were doing and influences towards the masses. You have great thinkers, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these people that were able to get their words out and make people listen and make people sit down and be influenced by what they're saying in some sort of form of way. None of these people that I just named started off with the big influence. A lot of these people started off just with a book in their hand, just having conversations just like this with other people of their kind, and then other people were giving them their perceptions, and they were able to get all these different perspectives, and they were able to talk to the masses. When you talk about politicians don't have everyone's perceptions and everyone's ideas. They have what you think is what's supposed to go through in society. They have what people vote on, because voting is limited to different laws. Every law doesn't go past the desk in the Senate. Only certain ones do that the House wants to put through. Exactly.
Yeah.
When you actually have more free will than the average politician. You just don't realize it because the perception-based thing is that you don't have any free will. If you wanted to get up today and put a poster on every block that says, "Let's feed the homeless," you can actually do that. You could go right in here to this library. You could print out 100 to 200 pieces of paper for 50 cents each, and you could post, "Feed the homeless" on every block. You could go from every corner in New York City saying, "Hey, for an hour, feed the homeless for a whole week." Whether you get paid or not, you still could do it. But we're so drawn in by thinking that we have a lack of power, that we're not committed enough to changing the world with the little power that we do have. I read a book called The Atomic Habits, right? He said that 1%, if a person was to improve 1% each day, that this person would be able to, in a year, have a massive amount of progress, right? So if we each did 1% in society each day, I did my 1%, you did your 1%. There's 8 billion people in the world or more, right?
Yeah.
If 8 billion people did 1% positive to change the world,
I like that,
for 365 days, this world would be a brand new world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to end the conversation on that right there because I got to do my work inside the library, brother.
I really appreciate you stopping by, man.
Of course.